Welcome to the Lawless Astrology channel. My name is Dabney and I'm an evolutionary astrologer. I'm here with my friend, fellow astrologer, and all around awesome person, Celeste Brooks. And today we are going to be talking about politics and astrology. And we finally have something to celebrate. So, Celeste, this is not champagne, it's water, but
This
cheers.
is non-alcoholic champagne.
I
Cheers.
just like bubbly water because it's during the day, but we are
Mhm.
drinking to the election results and celebrating and having a little bit of joy. And we want to do that with you guys. And we want to look back at the election chart. We're going to look at Mondani's chart. And we're going to look at maybe some Newsom action and then give you a little bit about what's coming up. So without further ado, welcome, Celeste.
Hey, Dabney, isn't it nice to have good news to celebrate and to feel excited about the future? Can I plug my event
Oh,
before we
yeah.
get?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please
so
do.
the 2026 Astrology Predictions event, I do this every year with two of my Astro besties and outside of you. But I'll give you a link if you wouldn't mind putting it in the show notes
I'd
because
love
people may really enjoy it, where we prepare people for all the upcoming eclipses, retrogrades, and transits. So it's going to be a big year, 2026. It's a year of the one. So we're in this year of the nine, which has been really hard in a lot of ways. Seeing all of these things come down with Saturn and Neptune traveling together, structures dissolving, going away, but it's making way for new stuff. So I'm feeling excited today.
I can speak from personal experience. Last year was a 9 year for me and it sucked. And this year's a 1 year, and I will say that it's been better. So, it's still been a challenge, but in a different way, in a more like I'm making progress. So I feel like a 1 year is sort of like the nine things are closing out. You're like feeling sad and grief. And then the one, you just sort of started over. I can't believe it's time for like next year forecasts. Can you?
And no, this year went by so fast. It just feels like time is accelerating because we got stuff constantly coming at us. And it just, remember when you were a kid and it like a day lasted like a year?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess there's like an actual thing about as you get older, like time does change because of how many years you've lived on the planet, but I don't fully understand that. I should understand that. Everybody, good vibes for me on Sunday for my astronomy exam. Everybody, pass, pass, pass. Okay. I'm taking my astronomy exam. All right. So
On the day Mercury stations retrograde. Oh my.
I did find out it's open book. So
Okay.
that's going to help a lot. It's
That's
gonna
going to
help.
help a lot. But with Mercury retrograde, people are going to be putting down the wrong answer or what
I don't
happened.
know. They scheduled it then. So, and they're astrologers that scheduled this. So
Okay.
I don't know what to tell them, but yeah,
Okay.
it was astronomy for astrologers. So it's not like astronomy for like people like the Big Bang Theory people. It's like,
Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, stationing retrograde. And you have a test, but at least it's open book.
yes, that's my hope. Okay. Anyway, hello, everyone. Congratulations to the big blue tsunami sweep that just took place. Everyone had a little bit of a acknowledgement that finally we had some relief, that there might be some good news. The next morning, I saw a rainbow when I was taking my son to school, which always to me indicates hope and positivity and something good coming. Um, so lots of good stuff. So let's quick, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with the chart for the election.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I had, looking at this astrology for this time, I had in my notes a tsunami for November. And I love that it is a blue tsunami election wise with all of the water in the sky. Hmm.
Absolutely. And so for those of you that are not that familiar with what Celeste does, she kind of melds tarot and astrology and almost like her own psychic predictions. She hears, song lyrics and things like that. And so she kind of gives you something to anchor onto, which is really kind of cool. And she's a lot more predictive than I am. So she's going to take the floor a lot more when it comes to next week and the predictions there. But if you know me, I like history, I like mundane astrology, I like big picture stuff. And so the thing that really stood out to me was this was the first major election with Pluto and Aquarius. Last year, unfortunately, we had Pluto in Capricorn when you know who was elected, when we all, had to put the shrouds of sadness on. So now it's a whole new ball game. So I think that a lot of astrologers, myself included, were more optimistic because Pluto had gone into Aquarius previously. And during that time, also Democrats did well. But then when it went back into Capricorn, it was kind of like a resurgence of this old energy. And so a lot of what's happening now is sort of like, think about even like last year, election results were like trickling out. Well, this year it was so dramatic that like they were able to call it, like Decision Desk called those things right away because people were winning by like 15 percentage points. So obviously this is an off year election, which tends to be kind of more educated and engaged people. However, if you really get down into the gritty of it, there is major buyer's remorse because you see, counties that were, 41% for the orange Cheeto flip to like, 20% the other direction. So it was like a 60-point swing. So we have these like gigantic swings, and especially in Latino areas and also with younger people. So those were the ground that he gained last time, where he only won by 1.5 percentage points. Now we are seeing 15 percentage points. We're seeing massive swings, and his popularity is underwater. And that to me is Pluto now direct in Aquarius, making her claim.
Yeah.
Basically saying, like, I am here for the people. The kind of old paradigm where Pluto was in Capricorn and money was the name of the game. When Pluto was in Capricorn, it was about money. And that is not the case when Pluto is in Aquarius. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is also, Aquarius can be ruled by Saturn as well as Uranus. However, it's a different flavor of Saturn. It's more the people. It is, the workers. It is not the elite moneyed class. So you see on election day, so I pulled this for 9 p.m. when the polls closed in New York and the election was called for Mondani immediately. And
Yeah, and I think about Capricorn is hierarchical as well,
mm,
traditional. Oh, we want to go, the patriarchy wants to be reinforced again. When the election was, when Pluto was in Capricorn at that 29th degree of crisis and decay, holding all the energy, like bringing in this, Donald Trump couldn't be more Capricornian in terms of the shadow energies of greedy, materialistic, wanting to keep up with the Joneses, wanting to have, I'm here, you're down here energy of Capricorn, whereas Aquarius is, we are all on the same playing field at the same level, power to the people energy of Aquarius, future
yeah,
focused.
right. And really, it's what's been interesting is since Pluto's been in Aquarius and he has been the president, the focus has been like anti-woke and anti-DEI, right? But DEI is what who showed up on Tuesday to vote, you know? It really was power to everybody. It wasn't just power to only this certain class. And what was interesting is you had people like Chuck Schumer who still never the lead now wrap your mind around this. The leader of the Democratic Party, okay? This guy, the Senate leader, or he's the minority leader, but he is ostensibly the highest person we have. He could not bring himself to endorse the New York mayoral candidate for Democrat. Like,
He never endorsed him.
he wouldn't even admit if he voted for him or not.
Wow.
He was asked, "Did you vote for Mandani?" And he
It's
said,
time for him to sit down. When is he his election come up?
I don't know, but he and so at the point at which you have these establishment Dems aligning themselves with people who are, you know, supporting Cuomo, raising $22 million for Cuomo, and still Mandani wins. That tells you that money, so we've been under this whole money paradigm really, you know, since 2010 with Citizens United, when money exploded politics. And then that also exploded our media to some degree. There's a lot of things that have exploded our media, but that also had an influence because money could then influence our media more. So what you saw last Tuesday was Pluto and Aquarius saying, oh yeah, that's not the same paradigm anymore because you can put all the money in the world in, but I can still win. I'm going to win on representing everybody, not just the people with deep pockets. So that was something I wanted to bring up with this chart. Obviously, we have Jupiter in the first house in Cancer, which is also protection of people. It's a Cancer rising chart. You know, he ran on the idea that he is going to provide, you know, like food for people that can't afford it. He's going to provide free daycare for childcare for people who can't afford it, that there's going to be free public transportation. This is all Cancer and Jupiter in Cancer in the first house. That is absolutely indicative of that. That taking care of people is paramount and number one. Also, we have to look at that Neptune at the 29th degree, very close to Saturn, right on the midheaven. That Neptune, I've got a video coming out with James Burgess, and we talk a lot about the fact that that is a mirror. This Neptune is everybody, you, me, Celeste, and everybody watching, and everybody who voted, didn't vote. Right now, this Neptune is going to be at the 29th degree for several months. And what that is a mirror. We all have to look very honestly at ourselves. And what do we see reflected back at us?
Mm.
The decisions we've made. What decisions are we going to make now? Who are we really? Take away the illusion because that's who you are. We are being faced with a mirror. You know, I think when we were talking last time, I said that I knew somebody that has people in her life, in her immediate family, that are undocumented. And she chose not to vote in the election last year. I just didn't know enough about Kamala. 3 people she has that are really close to her that are at risk of being deported. Now, if that isn't a mirror that you have to we all have to deal with our reflections right now as things are falling away in this 29th degree of Pisces. And I think some people are getting ready for Neptune to be in Aries for the final time, or, you know, in Aries next year, where they're going to actually take some positive action. So this is what I see. What do you see?
Oh, well, I want to talk more about Neptune since you brought it up.
All right.
You know, Neptune and Pisces, we all had our own illusions and delusions and deceptions that had washed over ourselves over the 14 years from 2011 to 2005 that Neptune traveled in Pisces. But then it went into Aries. And with the most successful cult that was ever established, the MAGA, when Neptune went into Aries, what I called that was pop the balloon, where the pixie dust that they'd been sprinkled with, oh, I'm going to take care of you. You have da 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 da. You're going to be whatever. And it started to burn away and it's on fire. And now it's gone. It's expired. It doesn't work anymore. When Uranus went into Gemini and the administration said about Epstein, there's nothing to see here. He committed suicide. There's no list, all that stuff. They lost their minds. And now Neptune is back in Pisces. And a lot of the people who supported him were on food stamps and needed nutritional assistance. And now I saw pictures from Nebraska, people lined up at food banks because it's not even been a week since the stamps ran out, and people are not able to feed themselves because it's so hard for working people, the working poor, to to survive. And they're realizing the error of their ways. And the Jolly Green Ginger, or Jolly Ginger, he's
Oh, yeah, I like that guy. I know
he's
you're
an
talking about.
influencer. He was talking about that Mamdani's win was celebrated across the country. Even in the deep South, people were excited because they feel like they can feel this change where people are going to be having more of a say. People are understanding that voting matters. The who's in office impacts your life. If you didn't know that before, you know that the 2015, where we're on the brink.
Well, and yes, I love what you said about like the pixie dust, and like when Neptune went into Aries, it was like everything started to kind of become clearer. And now that it's gone back into Pisces, but it's not going back farther than the 29th degree. And so the reason for that, I think, from a cosmic support mechanism, is there is still this pain. There is this kind of grief. There is this, like, okay, so have you ever done something that you regret? Everybody has, right? And so that's what I talk about. Like when you look in the mirror and you take ownership and you actually recognize and you feel remorse, like you actually feel something. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to feel remorse. They're going to make excuses. But I can tell you that person, when I found out she didn't vote, she was trying to kind of talk about someone else she knew that voted for the Cheeto, but the look on her face was that of like real remorse. Like it was like I know. Like there was that sort of look of like I know. And that's what this is. It's like you wake up the next morning, you've had too many drinks, you said something stupid, and you have no one but yourself to look at in the mirror. And that's when you know, like, you don't ever want to do that again. And so I think that's that, like, kind of like we have to go through this collectively where people actually have to get it in their bones that they can't live under this delusion. They have to get back to their own right selves. And so then to prepare for what's coming, because a lot's coming. And you can find out about that in Celeste
The
prediction workshop.
2026 predictions webinar. You can go to astrologybyceleste.com. Sign up today. It's on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific time, but you can get the recording. Absolutely, Dabney. I
All right.
totally agree with you about what you are saying.
Anything else you want to look at here before
Well, one thing I just want to also bring up, with Pluto being in Aquarius and Jupiter being in Cancer, that and Uranus and Gemini, I feel that, the cruelty of this administration
Mhm.
intending to separate people more is having an unintended consequence of driving people together. There are people of all stripes who are going to these protests and, talking to each other. And we're building community. Think about all the people who voted, and now they're talking about taking away mail-in voting if you have to go to the polls. People talking to each other when they're in line. And I think this is building, especially with Jupiter in Cancer, more emotional connection between people. I mean, there's still the horrible haters, but people are learning more about each other. And I think we really need to not demonize each other, even if you don't get it. You can't believe someone voted for X, Y, or Z. You've also got to remember that the propaganda machines coming from Russia, China, even our own people,
Our own country now.
these are tools meant to influence. These are very Neptune and Pisces tools meant to change. Like, really, it's like a drug for the mind, and it's very sophisticated. So we need to give people some, I think, grace, or just keep it to ourselves if we think they're a complete idiot or a jerk or da 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 da, so that we continue to come together to get rid of the oppression the elites are doing to the masses.
Absolutely. I think, and I've talked about this, like, looking at I think her name is Honey Badger and Knitting Cult Lady, and some of these people who do talk about what it's like to come out of a cult. And
Mhm.
that, it's kind of this, there's like a liminal period where you're starting to question things, but you don't feel safe in the other camp. And if the other camp attacks you, it pushes you right back into the camp. So it's not at all is forgiven. It's a just let them figure this out on their own right now, because
And not shame them if we can. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so okay. So do we want to look at Mondani's chart
Yeah,
next?
let's look at Mamdani. And I didn't realize till yesterday that Mira Not Nair is his mother. Oh, I need to
You don't
share
know
it.
what that is? I'm giving you a share now. Yep, there you go.
She's a director, and she's like a really cool lady. So he comes from, I think she did a movie with I think she directed Mississippi Masala with Denzel Washington. And it's
Oh,
about,
that
he's
movie.
in a relationship with an Indian woman in Mississippi. This is from like the 80s or 90s. So his mom is pretty cool. So this is Zoran Mandani, and we have his birth time. So this should be, and it's from memory. So it's an A rating. But the thing that just jumped right out at me, you could feel that Leo rising, like, oh my God, he just knows how to capture attention. And when I saw his wife for the first time last night, and just like her presence is incredible. She's like, and people are likening her to like that energy of like Princess Di or Diana
Ooh.
Ross, or like she's just this elegant, beautiful lady. She's an artist. They are a power couple. But that Saturn in Aquarius opposite his ascendant. So Saturn at 0 Aquarius. So oppositions come in through people outside of us. In the seventh house, he in Aquarius, like this collective group hate that is coming at him because he's an Indian and he is a Muslim. I really feel like that's that Saturn right opposite his ascendant. Because some people are like, that's their only thing that's wrong with him. He's a Muslim, and that just like discounts him from what being existing, being able to be a leader. What?
Oh my God, did you see Deborah Messing's tweets? I was so disappointed. Oh, Deborah.
No,
Deborah Messing, she just went off on him, comparing him to a jihadist, and it was just really sad because I love Deborah Messing. She's great
that's
from Will and Grace, and she's been like a real like progressive champion. So it's kind of a bummer when somebody's Wounded Colors show is what I would call
Yeah, no, I haven't seen her tweets. But I saw a little bit about that she was involved in controversy.
Yeah,
And
no, I
they
read a
used
story
to
about
love.
it. I am not on that horrible man's platform. I got off it the night
Mhm.
he took over. But yes, wow. Okay. I have not actually seen his chart. So this is pretty fantastic. And what a perfect politician that he is charismatic and creative with that Leo rising, but yet also he has got a third house Libra sun, which is going to be very adept at relationships and diplomacy and politically straddling the line. But he can speak with force with that Mars Mercury conjunction in Scorpio. And what's interesting is Charlie Kirk had a Mars Mercury in Scorpio as well. Didn't we look at that? Or I looked at that with somebody.
Wasn't us, but yeah, and he's someone who, like, he just said he's a Muslim. That was his argument about why he shouldn't be able to run. And the podcaster was a Libra sun as well. But the thing that I notice about his sun as well is that it is on the fixed star Spica, which is one of the most favorable stars that is associated with people who have success. And it can be success artistically, politically. Success and wealth is a common feature of this fixed star. So I think that's interesting that that's where his sun is on there. It's an amplifier, amplifying his ability to be able to connect, charm, communicate. But he's got that Mercury Mars. There's something very magnetic about him as well. And he was there. He was on this little, like, did this man on the street interview with an influencer, and apparently he wanted to say during a debate, he said, I wanted to say to him, I'm going to be your next mayor. But he didn't. Like, he's got that Scorpio. He's got Riz.
He's got Riz. Okay, well, I was gonna say he has it. Like he's got that it factor. Just it. And like, look at that
That's
Jupiter.
Riz, Dabney. Get with the program. It's
I'm sorry,
2025.
I'm old and I'm so old I had to put my glasses on to see your chart. So he's got Jupiter Venus conjunct in the second house. So I mean that is also very magnetic. Like it's in Virgo, which is responsible, but anytime you have Jupiter in the second house, that is somebody who is going to attract finances, and that is somebody who's going to attract opportunity when it comes to his career. So everyone's like, oh, go woke, go broke. I don't know about that with this guy. Like that's clearly not the case. So the other thing I want to just quickly point out, because I'm an evolutionary astrologer, and the thing that interests me the most is his north and south node. His south node is in Cancer in the 12th house. So he comes from a very compassionate place, could be a pitfall attracting drama into his life, and also being sort of someone who, sort of unconditionally gives, maybe thinks too highly of other people. However, what he is being tasked to do is take responsibility in this lifetime and take care of the people. He is here to be of service and to be of responsibility, and he's here to do it in a very unique way. And he has that moon in the Aquarius, and he never took donor money. He didn't take APAC money. He was somebody who came right out and said, like, this campaign is for the people. He had like 1% awareness a year ago, and he went on to win. So really interesting chart. Anything else you wanted to talk about with this one?
Mm. Yeah, he
Anything
has
else
the
about his Riz?
moon.
You're gonna have to teach me all the slang words because
Yeah,
I'm
I don't know that many. But I do know a Riz. He's got the Aquarius moon, so really believing that he does internally, even though he has some that Capricorn stellium, there is this internal drive to bring to bring fairness, equity to groups of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's bringing
But Moon Square
compassion.
Pluto, that's it. That's some intensity.
Mhm.
Is that
There's there's authenticity in this chart though. The only piece that like an Aquarius moon is authentic, right? Like they can't not walk their their own path. Like they're, you can kind of believe what they're saying. Um, but he's a Libra sun, so he knows how to do it in a charming way. He can charm you, well, especially with all that Scorpio, Mercury, Mars, not too far from his sun. So there is like he's a charmer. And then the Leo is creative, and Leos are pretty sincere as well, but I would say the Libra is where he can charm you. He'll charm the pants off you.
yeah. I just want him to do a really good job.
All
He's got
right.
a strong Saturn, so hopefully that speaks to feeling responsible for the people he is representing and doing the best job possible.
And there's a lot of like difficult aspects. And
Mhm.
oftentimes when you find aspects that are not, trines and sextiles, like where you find squares and conjunctions, those aspects, are grist for the mill. They create opportunities for you to make a lot of progress in this lifetime.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And how old is he? He's 34, right?
Yeah, he's a
Oh,
youngin.
yeah, he's 34. 11th house year of hopes and dreams, and Mercury ruling his 11th house. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. I hope they're not foolish enough to try to mess with his citizenship.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I did see a headline that really made me smile, that it said and it had a picture of him, and it said welcome to the Democratic Tea Party.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I liked that headline because I think that's it. I think that the Republicans became disillusioned with their party sooner than we did,
Hmm.
on the heels of George Bush and the policies with Afghanistan and Iraq, and Dick Cheney, who we lost this week as well. So kind of interesting.
And
Feels like, and they went from the arms of that to, you know, what they went to the arms of. But I think that disillusionment was a massive earthquake for their party, where they kept running these establishment people like McCain and Romney that their base didn't want. And I think we're in a similar kind of moment where we don't want Schumer and Jeffries. Like, we want people who are going to embrace the future and do things differently, who are going to fight for us, who are going to take the mantle and actually care about the people, who are not just going to take corporate money and spin things, because we're basically getting Republican light. And
absolutely. APAC money will be kryptonite,
mhm.
maybe as early as 2026, but definitely in 2028. And we can see that with in the sky, Israel has a moon at 4 degrees of Leo, and Pluto hasn't gotten opposite it yet. But I feel like that's like the cutting off. You take that money, and you're not going to be elected. You're going to have a hard time being elected dog catcher in the United States, because it's just we've had enough of it. Because Dick Cheney dying on the same day that Mamdani rising, I really feel like it's like synchronicity of the universe, like bringing back up that energy of like the torture and the going to
Right, where
war,
we really went off track.
false pretenses, you
Yeah,
know.
like what bankrupted our country was, two wars that would never should have been fought, that people blindly, accepted based on lies. And, what's frustrating is having MAGA people rewrite history, that it wasn't Republicans that led us into those wars, because
What?
oh like they pretend like they never voted for Bush and never ate freedom fries and burned their Dixie Chicks CDs. Like, I mean, it's all ridiculous hypocrisy and lies. But
Mhm.
never underestimate someone's ability to, have amnesia when they're morons. But the point being, like, I think we are now seeing a disillusionment. They're not talking about, you don't hear the Democratic leadership putting out a cohesive strategy for where we need to be. They're just fighting what the people want. And then that doesn't mean there aren't Democrats that aren't leading the way, because there are. There are amazing Democrats that are leading the way. I'm talking about the people that have been there way too long and need to start recognizing that they're not playing a
Yeah,
game.
no more 80-year-olds, okay? There's
Thanks,
nothing against
Nancy
being
Pelosi.
80. I will be so lucky to live that long, but that is not a time to be in this kind of position of power. I mean, besides that, as you get older, your energy wanes. There's also so much technology and things that the average 80-year-old is not able to grasp.
Or the average 60-year-old. And
Yeah,
this is the reality, is like, you saw, if you ever watched those hearings with Mark Zuckerberg in front of the Senate,
they
they
didn't even
didn't
understand
even
Facebook.
have a clue. Well, what do you do on the Facebook? I mean, and this isn't ageism. The reality is Bernie Sanders is like kicking ass and taking names. And once again, I have got my Bernie finger puppet on the refrigerator that I got like several years ago. I love Bernie Sanders. So this isn't about age. It is
He's
about, like,
unique.
if you are not able to keep up, we don't think you should be there anymore. And so I want to take a moment and actually thank Nancy Pelosi for saying she will not run again at 84.
Thank goodness.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
that. She is.
absolutely. She's
Thank
an
you for
Aries,
not
I
ruining
believe.
your legacy like so many before you have. So, okay. Enough of my, I know you guys come here for astrology and you're just getting politics, but hopefully you're enjoying it anyway.
Yeah, I wanted to look up Nancy Pelosi. I don't see her right here, but I believe she's an Aries, and that makes sense that she is stepping down. Thank you for your service. She did
Thank
a lot
you.
of great things,
She
but
did.
time to
When she
go.
ripped up that speech behind Trump, I'll never forget it. Good job. During the State of the Union. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if she needed to do that, but she was a tough negotiator. Yeah, she did a lot of great things.
I think yeah. So I am just grateful, as having Dianne Feinstein as my senator when she was completely in a state of dementia. I am very grateful that we do not have to have that again, because the reality is, like, it is your legacy, like, when you taint your legacy, like, unfortunately, I genuinely believe, and this might be controversial, I think he was a great president in so many ways, but the one way we needed Joe Biden to be a good president was to understand the threat that was before us and to act accordingly.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
he should have never run again. Yeah,
because so many things now are being undone
yeah,
that he did, and that didn't have to be the case.
yeah,
So, but it's all happening for a reason. There's a reason and a season for it all. The universe is conspiring. This is all about us all getting smarter and knowledgeable and facing that man in the mirror.
yeah. And I just feel like that I'm holding the hope that we are going to move closer together, see each other more as humans rather than whatever label, and yeah, become more connected again.
My son told me that social media use has fallen for the first time ever.
Good. I think it's going to continue to plummet, especially because with you not knowing what is real and what is not.
Mhm.
Like with Saturn and Pisces, again, and Pluto and Aquarius, all of these videos, and now with Uranus being in Gemini, it's starting to look so real. You cannot tell what's real from what's fake unless you have a person right in front of you.
Yeah, and I think that that's
And
gonna
that's
be
that just breaks people's brains. It's too much.
it's too much. It's too much. And our brains have already been broken by social media and it's broken our country. So, if there's one place to lay the blame, and this is what we are going to be dealing with. I keep saying this that, Cheeto's going to be gone. He will. Like, I know we're still having to deal with it. I know he just ripped down the east wing of the White House. I mean, I am not blind to what's happening, but that is not what Pluto and Aquarius is ultimately about. And that the shadow of Pluto and Aquarius is going to be this technology we're going to have to deal with. And that is
Mhm.
becoming more and more prevalent and obvious too. That and the government is going to have to step in with AI because corporations are making more and more of a profit while they are laying people off en masse.
And running up our electricity bills with
And yeah, and ruining the planet. I
ruining
mean,
the. Mhm.
yeah. So, and these are all things that no one was talking about a year ago, right? I mean, AI was something that was all just hyped up and exciting, but now we're starting to see the reality of this. And if people think it's bad now, imagine, when they're done maximizing shareholder profits and, hundreds of thousands of people in white collar positions lose their job and there's no alternatives for them to get back into the workforce. What do we think is going to happen then? So there needs to be actual responsibility and actual leaders, not just some clown car running in circles tearing down the east wing. So
Mhm.
you want to pull up another chart, or I don't know,
Yeah,
should we
I
look
was
at this,
looking at.
or do you want to just jump into next week?
Well, now since we're talking about AI, oh, there was something about OpenAI asking for government guarantees or something like that. But they backtracked, so never mind. Because
Well,
that
I know in the big
worries.
beautiful bill, one of the things that they wanted to do was no regulations on AI for 10 years, but that was so unpopular with the people, they were able to get that stripped.
Okay.
But I mean, we're talking about the level of corruption going on. People, please do pay attention because I had somebody comment on one of my videos about how when I talked about, with the SNAP benefits and let them eat cake and the, ballroom that's being built and how they had nothing to do with each other. And I just was beside myself because, of course, they have everything to do with each other. Because, you can say that the ballroom is privately funded, but it's privately funded by corporations that are bribing the administration for to deregulate and to get rid of violations that are before the DOJ. So I mean, come on now, let's all they absolutely it has to do with the metaphor of that inauguration where there were billionaires all around on the inside and the people were left out in the
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. So I wanted to take a look at this Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. That is
Celeste,
happening.
am I getting too feisty? Am I
No, not at all. I'm just looking up my notes.
okay? All
um,
right. So I'm gonna have to do my disclaimer on this video that I don't want to hear your mouth if you don't, if you're MAGA. I'm gonna have to put that in my disclaimer.
yeah. Yeah. So Mercury retrograde, it's slowing down to station retrograde. It's an optical illusion, but what it does, Mercury retrograde is a real phenomenon where you will start to have tech glitches. You'll start to, people get confused. You think you're meeting at 2 p.m., you're meeting at 4 p.m. There's delays, reversals, and potentially the collapse of what was contemplated. Mercury rules transportation, travel, and communication, and retrogrades slow things down, bring problems. And we know that this just happened today or yesterday. The administration says 10% of flights are going to be reduced because of the government shutdown. And so one of the things I've been wondering since earlier this year, Saturn is going to be stationing direct on Thanksgiving. And what would that mean for the collective? And I think it's going to mean that people are potentially going to have to change their Thanksgiving plans, um,
Mhm.
because may come to a point where there is a strike or some kind of shutdown. Because look, Mercury is stationing retrograde in the ninth house of long distance travel. Now, this is also higher education, broadcasting, legal affairs. I'm sure Supreme Court stuff will be coming up. But look at Saturn in the first house. So, and with Neptune retrograde. So, people are going to be feeling a sense of loss during this time. And I feel like it's going to be, people wanting to go home for the holidays or visit people. They're not going to be able to get home, or they get home and they can't get back, or things like that could be something that's coming up. But this Mercury Mars is very explosive. So this weekend, be mindful of what you're saying with people. Um, I had put some, I do my little predictions, and one of them was, I called this "Get Jiggy with It." Mercury goes retrograde in Sagittarius and back to 20 degrees of Scorpio. So, how that's going to show up will be interesting. I said there may be nostalgia for the old, a music dance craze, remakes and movies may be part of this. So, uh, there is a song that's getting attention about building the ballroom,
Oh,
and
I
how
haven't seen
Hitler
that.
built a ballroom as well, or the Mustache Man built a ballroom as well. And people are doing like duets, and like more and more people are singing the song, and I think that's going to be one of the things that we see like spiral out with Mercury retrograde, because you're having a conversation about the same thing for an extended period of time. Yeah, there's going to be, I said, a protest song or dance goes viral. Yeah. Pop star and athlete secrets revealed could be coming up because they're Sagittarius figures. And both Taylor Swift and her beau, her fiance, they have a Venus. His Venus is at 26 Scorpio and her Mars is at 26 Scorpio. So they're going to get 3 hits of that. So we'll see Mercury retrograde if they make news around that time. I put pregnancy revealed, so we'll see something about that. Oh, but JD and his wife, do we want to gossip about that?
Sure. I mean, that was an interesting thing, but I have my own take on that, which is that he is just all about I don't think he actually cares who he's sleeping with. I think he just cares about being in power. So,
Mhm.
and I don't know about her. I don't know enough about her to comment. But I can honestly say I know enough. I've seen enough from him.
Yeah, he's a Leo rising, late degree Leo rising. And the president's Pluto is right on his sun at 10 degrees, his sun in the 12th house. So I think he gets humiliated, embarrassed, squashed all the time at work by his boss. What do you think?
Well, absolutely. But is he going to ultimately have the last laugh if he's able to, you know, get him out? I mean, we have, there obviously is something going on with the big guy's health. I mean, he's had 2 MRIs in 1 year. He keeps having to take a dementia test. I mean, if you listen,
Today he was asleep, I think. Yeah,
right.
we'll
I mean,
see. He's got some rough transits coming up, so we'll see what how that shows up. But he's got the best health care in the world. So
I do believe JD Vance will be our president.
mhm.
And I think that is going to be part of what we're going to be dealing with because he is very closely aligned with the tech billionaires. And, before we got on this, I just read the headline that Elon Musk's pay package for $1 trillion was just approved. Now,
Mm.
it's really hard for people to wrap their head around what $1 trillion is. Like, but it's not even like remotely in the realm of anything that we can wrap our heads around. Like, it is so out.
That much money for being bad at your job. I mean,
Right. Right. So
let's
for
stop
losing
this.
market share and right. So there's something, so this is there's the more they push the mantle, the more it's never enough. The more, that it just goes farther and farther and farther, the farther down the road we get where we come together and we unseat this nonsense.
Mm. My fake champagne is delicious. I got it from Whole Foods.
That's nice.
But
My
anyway,
apple cider is good.
yeah, so Mercury stationing retrograde at 6 degrees of Sagittarius, right between his south node and his Uranus, opposite his Chiron. This may just be about the rumors about his marriage, but there could be, and square his Mercury, which rules his 11th house of friends and second house of money. So it'll be interesting if there's something else that comes up about him during this retrograde period where a secret is exposed of a Sagittarian nature, like him at a wild party or doing something, because Mercury is going to station at 20 degrees of Scorpio. So right at his IC near his Mars.
I mean,
So
that's very South Node what he said about his wife, that he wished she would convert to Christianity. That is a very South Node in the fourth house in Sagittarius statement. So that is him in his lower self, no matter what you think about that. For him personally, that is not he is in this lifetime, he is supposed to be accepting and open, and the fact that he is married and has children with someone from another faith is actually part of his North Node destiny. So, that's kind of pulling him back into judging other people and having a dogma and feeling like it's his job to put his belief system and his dogma on other people. So that's going to come back to bite him. I think it already did a little bit.
Yeah, and Uranus is going back into Taurus tomorrow. Uranus, the planet of upheaval and disruption. And what it's going to do is going to back it up to 27 degrees and an exact square with his ascendant, him, and his descendant, his wife, any business partners or open enemies. So we see this disruption in his marriage is publicly available. And we also have her chart, and she's got this Cancer rising, and look at this Scorpio stellium. She is not happy with how she is being treated. I can tell you that. And it's interesting. I think they have 3 kids together. And so Uranus being opposite her moon, which is her chart ruler, it's very, people were telling her, check your brakes, check your, be careful. Like there were these jokes about her being taken out after that inappropriate interaction between JD Vance and the widow.
And it is interesting. It is interesting to note, like, Vivek Ramaswamy, right? Remember he ran for president, and now I think he's running for senator or something in Ohio. Do you remember Vivek? He got asked by a bunch of people, like, who came right out and said, how do you think that you can run for, and represent us when you're not Christian? I mean, there is like some really openly racist stuff that's going on against
Oh
people.
yeah, Indian people are finding out that the quiet part is being said out loud.
Right. Exactly. I mean, these were people who asked him to his face, like, how could we ever trust you when you're not Christian?
And you're an Indian.
And you're an Indian.
Ann
Right.
Coulter told him to his face she would never vote for him because he's an Indian.
So when that's happening, I mean, there's an interesting, like, how much are you going to sell your soul for, right? Like,
Mhm.
Vivek Ramaswamy came out and said, well, the reason why we're losing the elections is because we're doing too much identity politics. He never said that before, funny thing, kind of interesting that that's his position
Mhm.
now. And I wonder what Usha's position is now. Anyway,
It'll be interesting. Well, her ascendant ruler is being Uranus's opposite. So the collective, there's a lot of stress and disruption, and we'll see if they make it through. But think about how Saturn squaring her when Saturn goes back into Capricorn, excuse me, not Capricorn, Aries squaring her Mercury and Neptune. So she's been under a lot of pressure
yeah.
being being this vice president role has been difficult, I would say. Vice second
I'm
lady.
going to reserve my sympathy for others.
Oh,
And
I have no sympathy. She married this guy. She signed up.
she signed
She,
up. She
she
campaigned for it. So
mhm.
we'll see where it ends up.
We'll see.
But
We'll see. We'll see
yeah,
what ends up. Yeah.
yeah. So and then we'll probably let's see. Hopefully we'll get together again at least a little before or after the Scorpio.
Let's do it a couple of days before the Scorpio new moon because that's a biggie. That could be this. There's going to be a tsunami of some kind, and it could be information coming out, tumbling out, skeletons coming out of closets. Mercury is going to be retrograde, conjunct the new moon.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm definitely looking at that one to have some really interesting implications for our news cycle and Epstein
Corruption
victims.
exposed.
Epstein
Big money stuff, money, sex,
money sex.
power stuff exposed.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. It's going to be a bumpy ride for some people, but I feel like, the solar eclipse that happened on September 21st at 29 degrees of Virgo, very karmic, that last degree. And Virgo rules accountability. People are being held accountable. There was that opposition to Saturn and Pisces, karmic reckonings that are coming due are really aligned with this energy right now. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, actually, it wouldn't be any kind of Celeste Dabney show if we didn't pick a card. So
oh yes.
I'm gonna pick a card. You can pick a card. Let's just pick a card for, one we are celebrating right now, but obviously, enjoy the celebration. We deserve the enjoyment, but don't think that it's not going to start whiplashing back because when he is a cornered, I don't even want to say rat because I like rats, but when people are cornered, sometimes they lash out harder. So just be
Oh yeah.
prepared. But I think people are seeing some things. People are looking in the mirror. So what
Mhm.
does everyone watching? What do they need to what message? I got 10 of Cups harmony. So this this
Ah,
is you take the time to enjoy this sweet moment. Look out for the rainbows. This is a happily ever after card. So I'll take it as a good omen. You got one, or do we want
yes, I'm pulling
that?
a woman of myth
Okay.
card, and this deck is from Maria Sophia Marmonides. She's one of my friends. She's that did this woman of myth, guidance and insight from the divine and diverse feminine. So Kitsune, monster the trickster. Oh, I don't know if you can see the picture.
I
It looks like
can't.
a Japanese woman. There's a fox, and yeah, it's a really interesting picture. Let me read it because when I looked at your card, I thought something coming from Asia could be a big story.
Mm.
So, This is deception, evasion, and untrustworthy. Now, Venus has entered the sign of Scorpio, the sign of its detriment, and it's squaring Pluto in Aquarius. So there may be something exposed over the next day or so when Uranus goes back into Taurus about financial malfeasance. Her story, there are 13 different type of kitsune, which are Japanese fox demons. They can often be magical tricksters and appeal to humanity's worst vices. Card meaning you're not feeling like yourself or acting like it either. Bring concentrated awareness to your thoughts, actions, and patterns. You may be acting in a way that is unrecognizable to yourself or others. This is Mercury stationing retrograde, the trickster, a reminder to, you know, things can tumble out of your mouth that you normally would just keep in your head with Mercury retrograde. So keep that in mind this weekend, especially if people Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. If they take in too much, Sagittarius can overdo things like with alcohol or drugs or whatever. This card points to a question of identity and who are you fooling if you're not being honest? Be kind to yourself and do some introspection and confirm who you really are. I think it's really just a message to be aware that the trickster energy is up in the collective with Mercury retrograde, secrets spilled, things said you wish you could take back. So mum's the word, or think before speaking is just all I would say. But I love the harmony card. Recognize the tricksters at work in order to keep harmony between
Yeah, and I
your
think
loved
this
ones.
also goes back to like so much is going on that is destined, that's out of our control. And I want to keep coming back to that. This is such a powerful opportunity to look. Oh, she's got something she's got to say. All right. It's a powerful opportunity to look in the mirror.
And underneath is Freya, goddess, the pleasure. This looks like the widow.
oh,
It's a blonde, like really big blonde hair. And like,
CK's widow. Okay.
yes,
Yeah, we
yes.
can't see the card
That's
that
her
well.
nickname is the widow.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, she's teaching
Well,
these things.
I just made it up.
Oh, that is so Riz. I'm just kidding. Um,
Riz. That's just a shorthand. But yeah, yeah, just it's, and I shouldn't, it's horrible, someone died. There's nothing funny about someone dying, but
yes,
I mean,
we're not
people
making fun
said
of
that,
this
the
situation.
mourning period is very odd. It doesn't seem very, there's not much mourning going on.
There's definitely a lot of rumors swirling about. I will say that, but
Mhm.
that's all I feel comfortable saying. I do want to say this, we have to focus on ourselves right now because all this noise is going to keep swirling. There is not going to be any respite anytime soon. So please enjoy this moment, even if you break out the champagne glass just for fake champagne and bubbly
Yeah,
water.
fake
Um,
champagne.
Raise a glass and know that we are celebrating with you, and any bit of hope we can take, we all need to take it right now. And I think that's what the harmony card is. There is going to be a happy ending. It's just when, I don't know for sure. Okay.
Yeah. And
Um,
at this election, Jupiter was in Cancer, exalted, and Venus in Libra at home. That I really feel excited for New York to see like how a different approach. It's not going to be easy. People are going to fight it every step of the way.
I
But
think New York is back. That's what I think. Like,
yeah,
I think that, this country, like, when I grew up, everyone always thought of New York City, right? But then like LA kind of became like the center point, and then it was like San Francisco for a while. But I feel like New York's gonna be back in like a new way because it started like after Giuliani. Like I know he cleaned up the city, but like it really lost its it's
so
it's yeah, it lost its riz. I'm gonna
Yes.
say that for like everything now. And like my son, my 14-year-old is gonna be like, Mom, stop it. All right, we've been chatting long enough. Thank you so much, Celeste. I'll see you when I see you, and we'll do this again in a couple weeks. Everyone, there is a reason and a season for it all. The universe is conspiring to help you. If you want more of Celeste's predictions for 2026, she's got a workshop coming up. I will put the information for that below. And if you want to give me your friend's tarot cards, I can put that below too. We couldn't see the pictures, but still, it's kind of fun to check out new cards. So,
Yes, I will.
all right, until next time.